Good afternoon and welcome into a live edition of the Dream Wager on this beautiful Monday, August 9th, 2021. I am your host, Dylan, and alongside me, we got not just our NBA guru anymore. He's getting better in UFC as well. How are you, Sir Elvis?
I'm pretty good, man. I had a decent week. Honestly, I had a pretty good weekend. So
good to hear. And joining us from sunny South Carolina, the legend, Joey D. How are you, sir?
Very well. You know, as I started our previous episode talking about freestyle wrestling and our medal count, boys, we've done it. The USA ended the Olympics in first place as a nation with 113 total medals.
Fucking go.
Congratulations to all the men and women representing our country. By the way, we also ended with the most golds, 39 total.
Ooh, we were blowing them out.
That's
but
right.
We just snuck by on the last day, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you both with us today. We got a pretty light card. We'll recap an eventful weekend in the sports world. We'll hit the diamond and give you some of our best plays for tonight. And we'll hit the NFC South and we'll tackle the defending champ Tampa Bay Buccaneers and head south to the Bayou to take a look at the Saints. But I do want to start our weekend with Elvis. The United States won gold for the men's basketball. They didn't cover, but you cashed plus 12.5.
I don't be honest. I knew the game was going under. I knew 175 was a little too high. And then I have some respect for France. At the end,
Yeah.
they're a pretty good team, and I didn't think we was going to be able to dominate them and win the game by 13. I just think that's a little tough in a gold medal game. So cashed in on the 12 and a half, cashed in on the under.
Let's fucking
Team
go.
USA got the gold.
USA.
Shout out to all the doubters. I doubted them a little bit.
I did
but
too.
I always thought they were going to win the gold, but not cover the spread.
Evan
which-
Fournier, Rudy Gobert, they got some ballers
they
on
got
that
some-
team.
That's a bar, my man. It's pretty good. Nigga Spittoon.
Yeah, he was good too.
You heard what
Especially-
Damian Lillard say? That they play entirely different when they're representing their country. Dame Lillard came out and said that.
Yeah, you got Patty went for 43.
for bronze, yeah. And people were talking all about Slovenia and Luka, and he is a star. But
He had one of the greatest Olympic performances.
yeah,
all time.
but when it mattered for a medal, he didn't really do anything. Patty Mills dropped 40.
3.
You saw Katie, you coming home to BK with me.
Trolling one of the Celtics assistant coaches.
Yeah, it was like they were like, "Nah, we know how to cover Patty, so be careful with that." But how was the rest of your weekend? Getting nice in UFC, I see.
UFC shockingly went 3-1 on the night.
Ooh.
Me and Joey both hit on the plus 115 with Suryo gone, so that was nice.
Yep.
And
I mean,
besides that real nigga chokehold,
that's what I was just gonna get to. You honestly should have went 3-0. Kesa had it, but just
4-0.
4-0. I
4-0.
apologize.
4-0.
Kesa had it. He just lost control for a split second. And Vince Luque, he isn't someone to be played around with. And he wants the champ now, Joe.
Yeah, he called them out. I was thinking we're gonna get like a good call out by both those guys, but man, both the call out guys we called, if they were to get the victory, it didn't happen. But I think we got some interesting stuff that occurred, man. UFC 265 was not a letdown whatsoever. And my record, actually, man, if you look at it, I think I had to double the amount of wins as I had losses, because on my action app, I went 16-8. And then on my actual bets I put out, I went 4-2. So in the green big time, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by I pretty much doubled
I did
my
on
wins.
Verdict.
Yeah, 4-2. I didn't have some of the predictions down except for the decisions, but there as well, I had actually 5 of the 6 fights predicted correctly. But in terms of the actual betting, since I had Rafael Fiziev getting a second round knockout, I wound up with that as a loss because the bet didn't hit. But I know, Dylan, you had a little point on that fight exactly, because that was our main event of the prelim there. Always some controversial judging when we go outside of the state of Las Vegas. Excuse me, not the state of Las Vegas, the state of Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, I got to talk about how bad these judges are. In the main event of the prelims, I don't know how anyone in their right mind could have given the third round to Rafael. How do you say his last name?
Fiziev, yeah.
Fiziev. That judge, Joshua Fernando, who scored the third round 10-9 in favor of Rafael, is an absolute disgrace. We need retired fighters scoring these fights. These judges are clueless. If you haven't been punched in the face or wrestled for a living, then you clearly don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. It's just getting out of hand. Every week we talk about it, and every week they don't know what they're watching. Yeah. So it's just getting out of hand. John Anik came out and said something. Dominic Cruz came out and said something. It's just to the point where it's laughable. What are these judges watching that's different from what we're watching, John?
I don't know if they're taking turns in terms of I'm going to watch one round, you're going to watch the second, and one will watch the third, and we'll just score it accordingly. I don't know. People made jokes like that. They were just, trying to throw them under the bus, but it should be unacceptable. The fact is they control these fighters' destiny with the way they score the fights, and the fact that they're not scoring them fairly, whether it's biased, we don't necessarily know the story, or if they're just uneducated about it, shouldn't be okay. We need to, of course, adjust that, and like you said, maybe bring in some fighters, maybe bring in some referees that know the sport, or pioneers of the sport itself. So we could definitely do better.
Quick question: What do these guys get the refs from? Boxing. But do UFC handpick them, or they're just issued by the state?
They're issued by the state. The commission does set them up for the event.
I think UFC Dan got to step in and get some.
Is it out of his hands, Joe?
I believe they could send in requests possibly, but I don't think they have the final say. I think it does come to the commission.
If this is going to be an ongoing issue, they got to do something.
They got to address it. And another thing, I apologize. No, I was going to make a separate point, but if you have a point about this, go ahead.
I was just wondering, with all the backlash that they are getting, you would think that Dana White would want to do something, but it seems like he hasn't even come out and said anything, which is surprising.
Which maybe makes you think that it's possibly out of his control, which is what we just discussed. It might be in the control of the commissions. And, we were talking about the continuation of that. I hate to bring it up, but you know how we had the kind of the injured limbs in all these pay-per-views? It did continue this one. We had
Mm.
Miss Leonardo fighting Miss Gatto. Gatto actually snapped Leonardo's arm in the prelims. Yeah. So we had another break in a fifth consecutive UFC pay-per-view event this year.
I'm telling you, I'm
All
no
right,
good to the
T's and
sport.
P's to him.
No
Holy
good to the
shit.
sport. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, but
Let's talk about the main event though, Joe. Cyril Gane, he's gonna be a real problem for Francis.
absolutely. Do you ever see him spar? They actually have footage of them sparring.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, sparring should be taken with a grain of salt because if that was the case, then they'd have a whole different fighters in the top 10 with everything like that. But the fact is that they're holding their own with one another. It's not like one was outshining one another. Just the way that Gane moves, man, he could seem to be able to avoid the power that Francis Ngannou possesses. And I'm just concerned if it gets in the later rounds, will Ngannou be able to keep up? Because Gane surely can. Gane looked like he would, if that got out of the third round, those championship rounds wouldn't have even been a contest against Derek Lewis. He would have outclassed him there as well. But that's my only concern is Ngannou. We did see him in a long fight against Derek Lewis and a couple others where he seemed to fade in those later rounds. So that's the only thing that I think we're gone. The gas tank, man. As it gets later in there, not only the technicality and everything, but the gas tank. If he has a game plan to push into the later rounds, I think it kind of favors Gane, man. He is a scary individual, just the way he approaches these fights.
Yeah, I've gained a lot of respect for him. He is so light on his feet, just moving. He doesn't fight like I said last pod. He doesn't fight like a heavyweight. He's so quick. He was leading every exchange with Derek Lewis. He was leading with the contact.
Yep.
And by the third round, Derek Lewis just looked defeated. Like, what did he have? 7, 8 total punches. He didn't control the match not one time. He kept backing up. And you could see the power. You could see in other fights with Derek Lewis, people were scared to close the distance. Cyril Gane was not scared at all. No. And I think that's going to be a real problem for Francis because that Francis was scared of the power. You saw it in their fight.
Exactly.
And I hate to admit it, but this guy, Cyril Gane, he looks unstoppable.
Dana came out and said, you're right. He moves like a middleweight at heavyweight. You don't see it that often. And it does take one punch with Derek Lewis. But to your point, I don't think Gane really cares. And I think he might have a chin. We haven't really seen him even have it tested. We haven't seen Gane his chin tested, but man, it seems like he can. Like, I don't think he's really afraid of the power, and he's always going to find a way to just slightly move out of the way. And I don't know necessarily what's going to happen in terms of that fight. I think that's one of the more interesting heavyweight fights we're going to ever have because you got an undefeated Gane who's now the interim champion that brings more credit to his name against the guy who just puts everyone into the stratosphere in Ngannou. And by the way, former teammates. Yeah.
Do you think they'll fight in the beginning of the year or
beginning of next year?
Beginning of next year.
They might there's always a chance they put it on like the end of the year card this year.
That'd be
and
nice.
So, they always have questions in the social media platforms. Who will be the champ by 2022? And is John Jones going to get in the mix? I think we have a lot of questions to answer there. But that was not the only interesting fight, I believe, of this main card, man. 265, in my eyes, was rather interesting.
What was your fight of the night?
Well, I honestly think that fight of the night was taken by the main event of the prelims, the one we discussed earlier between Bobby Green and Fiziev. I love the point you made about the judging there because these guys were back and forth, and so that makes me think it was fight of the night. But the co-main in this one, Jose Aldo, man, put on a performance. I know people can argue that could be fight of the night, and I like what Pedro Munoz was putting out there, but, dude, Aldo put on a masterclass once again. He's just a buzzsaw in that division. And I think now he threw a little wrench into the plans for TJ Dillashaw because 2 weeks ago, man, that's how it's just crazy this sport can move and how fast it can. We were thinking that, TJ Dillashaw was going to get like the title shot immediately. Now maybe Jose Aldo deserves either to have a number one contender match against him or he has an argument for a title conversation. But I think both do deserve a fight, at least one more fight, and that can decide the number one contender because we still got to see Jan and Sterling in Abu Dhabi, and I think there's enough time to get that fight in to actually determine the number one contender. So
yeah, Jose Aldo looked sharp. I think it was very what's the right word? It was a very smart move to go back down to 135. He's way better at 135. And Pedro Munoz, he was good, but I just think the boxing, Jose Aldo kept what's the word I want to use today? He kept seeing a flawed in in Pedro Muniz's fight. He kept hitting with the body shot, and then as soon as he tried to close the distance, he threw an upper kick to
Those
his
leg kicks
head.
also were nasty, man.
I could see that. Him
And the way he
TJ
was
Dillashaw.
checking, man, if you saw how he was checking all the kicks coming his way, people like threw dirt on Pedro Munoz's name, but the dude deserves an beer. The dude deserves to fight against the best. He's proven himself there. I think it's just, Jose Aldo kind of may have a little resurgence, man. That's what we're
What do
looking
you
at.
think of the fight? You watched it as well.
I'm
though.
gonna be honest, it was pretty entertaining. I thought Aldo still showed he got a lot left in the tank. I actually said he might retire after the fight.
Can't
Prove me
say that.
wrong. Can't say that.
Yeah.
Cannot say that. I'm gonna be honest. He looked way more sharper than I expected. So shout out Aldo, man. I think he
Yeah.
could probably make a title contention.
Two former champs. It's an interesting fight, and I could see it. him and
Absolutely.
TJ. That'd be interesting. What'd you think? I told you, Joe. Angela no kill Hill.
Yeah, man, we called it. She just doesn't come. I think when the lights are the brightest, and Tisha Torres had a to prove a point in this one.
Yeah.
She was dominant throughout it and exchanges. She was the aggressor. She went to anytime it went to the ground, it was ever so slightly, but man, Tisha Torres. I think now they were saying the 4-fight win streak that she has. She's another one that deserves a title. So we had like a lot of title eliminators of the past year so far. Not really getting to the title picture just yet, but with her, I think she's the one that can possibly challenge for it. I think there'll be a rematch too if she does have to fight the champ, which is Rose Namajunas, I believe.
yeah.
It'll be a
It was-
rematch there.
It was an interesting fight. Like you said, Angela just very slow out the gate, I thought. And maybe she just doesn't bring it. I know a lot of people that I respect in the UFC, they were on Angela. They thought she could get the rebound and get a good fight, but to the ground, on the feet, Torres just looked more dominant.
It
Yeah.
complete dominated the fight. I'm gonna be
That's
honest.
right. And it's that argument that pre-USADA, post-USADA, now there's no argument for no kill Hill.
By the way, Elvis, great call on
Great
opening
call.
fight. Sang Ladong. He
That's
just
my boy.
barely getting by Casey Kenny, though. It was a good fight.
I think he did enough. Casey Kenny, jumping on the cage and thinking that he won that fight wholeheartedly.
Who the hell does he
Yeah.
think he
That
is?
was a little delusional.
Like the judges
So-
scored. My fault.
No,
Joe.
Song Yadong, man, Elvis, you had an amazing pick there because he thoroughly won that fight in my eyes.
Yeah, one of the judges decided on Kenny. I was like, what? I
Yeah,
thought
I
like don't get me
heard
wrong, he
that.
won one round, but I think he Don won 2 out of 3 easy.
Yeah, easy.
In the verdicts global scorecard, Song swept all 3 rounds.
Exactly. I gave Kenny the second round because I feel like it was kind of in the middle. So give him a round, but no way he should have won one card completely. Like,
I just got to give you all the respect in the world. What a pick, man. I think
Yeah,
the
he's
last
on
fight
fire.
with the close little decision against Dominic Cruz, how high level Dominic Cruz is, gave me a little emphasis behind Kenny. But Song Yadong, man, don't sleep on that man. He's
It's
in there at
Speaking of Dominic
135.
Cruz, it's very hard to call a fight at his weight at 135. You got to be very not unbiased.
It's got to be the most talent stacked division, I think, now in the UFC 135. We said it before, and I'll say it again. So
Wow. Well, we'll see about that. Joe, PFL, Bellator, and one all this week. UFC's taking a little break.
Yep.
They'll be back in 2 weeks, but
everything
You'll
will
have
take
us
place
covered.
on Friday for you, and we'll of
Oh.
course have everything on that episode.
perfect. Thank you for that. We got a small slate. Let's head to the Diamond. Only about 5 games are being played.
slow Monday.
Slow, which is good. I know on Friday's pod, I told everyone to start fading me because I was ice cold, but over the weekend, I think I got my swagger back. Friday, I only gave out 2 plays. I went 2-0. Saturday, 7-1. Probably one of the best days I've ever had on the Diamond. And then yesterday, I went 4-0 with 2 pushes. I'm up 9 units. What a weekend.
Wow.
I'm on fire, boys, now. So look out. How was your weekend on the Diamond? You touched a couple plays.
Shockingly, yesterday I went 3-1. Astros fucked me. I'm pretty sure Astros fucked a lot of people yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of people were on them. I know.
And then Saturday, I think Saturday I just did UFC 3-1 record. So
Can't complain up in the green.
Got 2 sharps
No.
right over there.
You touched anything on the Diamond this weekend?
Well, the bets that I've given on Friday, the parlay did not miss because I think Houston blew it in extras, and
Yeah.
there was a couple other misses there. But I stayed in the green. I think I had 1 win over the green. So
Nice. Well, let's go to today's slate. Like I said, only 5 games. The first game, Reds, Indians. Anything on that for you boys?
I'll be taking the Reds money line minus 176.
Mm.
Yeah, Castillo was 6-10 record, over a 4 ERA. But I'm gonna be honest, Cincinnati been rolling, so
Yeah.
you gotta ride with them, especially on like nice slow Monday. Go with a hot team. Indians have just been fading away. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just a mess.
Nah.
So I'll be rolling with Cincinnati tonight.
That's good because honestly, you just got to fade Hentages. He has like an 8
Yeah.
ERA. He's awful. Let's head to the second game. We got the Brewers and Cubs. Joe, nothing on that for you.
No,
I
nothing
do
on the
have a
Brewers.
play.
Nothing on the Brewers.
Never,
Not even actually
ever.
anything about Milwaukee besides Aaron Rodgers
Or the Bucks.
or
Yeah.
the Bucks.
So Freddie Peralta is going for the Brew Crew while Alec Mills is on the mound for the Cubs. Peralta, he's been amazing this year. 2.21 ERA in 114 innings. Walks can be an issue, but he's only given up 10 home runs. And get this, in his last 14 starts, he's only given up two or more runs in just one time. The wind is blowing out today at Wrigley, so it might be another over game. Last night we saw an over, and they played last night. I like to fade teams who just played on Sunday Night Baseball. They lost 9-3, and their bullpen was used up because they could only get 2 innings out of Zach Davies. The Cubs have won 10 out of their last 38 games. You just got to fade them.
Fade 'em.
They've been selling. And with the Brewers, they're getting back Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich in their lineup, so that helps them out.
Wow.
And the Brewers are the best road team. They're 34-19. So I trust Peralta way more than I do at the Cubs in this point. So my play is going to be the run line for the Brewers at -126. Elvis, play on this? No, leave it alone. Perfect. And we're going to the third game. We got the Yankees and Royals. Joe, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, man. I was liking the lines, giving them runs in the first 5 in the full game, but I decided to lean with the full game because I think it might play close to the chest over there at Kauffman Stadium like it always does. Any visiting team over there at Kansas City plays a little better at home. So the fact is I'm going to be taking the Yankees, giving the run line at -1.5, full game odds -120. I just feel like it's going to take some time, possibly going to have to pull ahead late. So
Elvis, I already know you're not touching the Yankees.
I ain't touching the game, but it's a betting show, so I'm gonna give you guys.
Wow.
I'm not gonna bet it. I repeat, I'm not betting this. I'm gonna just tell you what I
a
feel.
little lean.
Little lean for the people out there. Yankees are, pretty hot team. Not to speculate. They've been doing good for themselves, and I'll take them if I was that type of guy. I'll bet Yankees money line today, maybe even the run line today.
Wow.
But fuck the Yankees,
And you're not doing it.
and I'm not doing it. I'm not like that. I'm not that type of guy.
ended on a high note.
Exactly. I am going to be touching the game.
Up.
Yankees, Royals under 10.
Both of y'all.
Minus
Wait, under?
104.
Okay.
Under, yeah. So Jameson Taillon, he's on the mound for the Yankees, and he's going up against Carlos Hernandez for the Royals. Carlos Hernandez, he's been great this season. In his last 2 starts, both coming against the White Sox, he's only given up 2 or more runs. So, and that's about 12 innings. So, and he's only given up 4 home runs this year. And with Taillon in his last 5 road starts, he has a 1.4 ERA. He's been able to lock it in, get batters out, striking them out, getting pop-ups. Plus, the stadium in Kansas City is very pitcher friendly. And with the Yankees, Anthony Rizzo just got COVID. That is not what they need right now.
Might be their best hitter right now.
Exactly. And Stanton, he's been struggling as well, only giving the team 3 home runs since the beginning of July. Joey Gallo, another guy they picked up at the trade deadline, he's only hitting 216. The guy, Luke Voigt, they just got back. He was tearing it up last year, but he's struggled to find it this year. And oddly enough, the Yankees have only given up 4 or more runs one time since the trade deadline. I just think the total's a little too high considering the struggles of the Yankees lineup. And I think we get a start from Carlos Hernandez. So I'll dive under 10 runs at -104.
I think both teams' last 3 games have all been under as well. So
Yeah. So I'm
Solid
going with the
choice.
trends.
yeah, definitely. Real quick, I know we talked about it first, the Reds, but Luis Castillo, he's one of the better pitchers in the league. It's just that he's their ace, and so he's going to face other ace. So his record is kind of inflated that way.
And he started his first 10 games. He started really bad, and now the tail end of the back half of the season,
He's
he's been
improved.
really good. So it's hard to start the season sometimes. Maybe they're always not in the best shape. But let's go to the fourth game. We got the White Sox and Twins. Joe, what do you got for this?
Yeah, so I'm touching just the 2 8-10 games, and man, I didn't like the line that you were getting from Chicago White Sox, given even the 1.5 in the full game. So I went ahead and I juiced the first 5, giving the 1.5. That gave us odds of +100, and then I went ahead and parlayed that with, of course, the Yankees that I was doing. So you got a 2-way parlay at +266. And if you do a single bet of what I just said, the Chicago White Sox given 1.5 is +100. So you're getting a little plus money there.
Attaboy, love plus money. No one, you touching the last game?
Yeah, I'm
Let's
touching
go.
this game.
Padres, Marlins. What do you
Now
got?
I'm touching the White Sox game.
Oh, you're touching the White Sox. Okay, what do you got?
Yeah.
Lucas Giolito.
Jay Lito, man, is pitching on the mound, but I'm gonna be honest, Joe. You know your boy Burrow's got a 21 ERA.
Chill. He might
Bro,
be a relief pitcher.
Bro, I don't know. I saw that. I was like, yeah, Red Sox run line. I'm Red
White
Sox.
Sox.
White Sox.
Run line. I was like, no way, this guy's about to throw, and he's about to throw, Joe. So I wasn't gonna touch it. I seen that. I was like, oh yeah, gotta smash that. So be taking them run line.
If I was a betting man, I would play the run line for the White Sox
Yeah.
as well.
I seen that. I was like, yeah, kind of ran with it.
And anyone touching the last game, Marlins versus the Padres.
No, I won't be touching that. I would lean obviously Padres at home.
Yeah, that line is crazy. I don't. That's
I
a
haven't
little
seen
too
a
high.
minus 252 in a baseball game.
Musgrove's good, but I think the Marlins are a live dog.
I'm gonna be honest.
Zach
Though,
Thompson's not that bad.
that 7.5. I might lean the over at plus 100.
A little lean.
Well, lean the over. plus
Padres
100,
doing it
why not?
single-handedly type thing.
Yeah, and in San Diego, you never know. Somebody might have a pop off Miami's bat.
Musgrove might throw a no hitter.
No. No.
Well, thank you, boys. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a little more baseball to bet on. But let's continue out our two-a-days. We are now in the NFC South, and today we'll be looking at the Bucks future market as well as the Saints. I think it's only right, boys, that we start with the defending, the reigning Super Bowl champions of the world, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Elvis, I'll start with you. Where are you going with the Bucks future market?
I'm gonna be honest. I have a few plays, so I'm gonna
Oh.
just start. I'm gonna be honest. I think
How many do you have?
3.
Wow. Okay. So you go, I'll go, you go, because I have 2 as well. So,
Yeah. All right, Joey. How many you got?
I got 2.
All right, bet. So we
Perfect.
can cipher. We can cipher. I think first of all, I think the 11.5 is kind of a disrespectful,
Very.
very disrespectful for us. So I smashed the over 11.5 at minus 150.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest. That's kind of an insult to Tom Brady and
Wow.
the Bucks and the whole coaching staff. So smash the over.
You're going over.
Going over. Smash the hell out of the over.
So I'm kind of going with the same thing. I'm going for the Bucks to win the NFC South. I know it's very chalky, but I think this is kind of low considering all things. It's at minus 185. Michael Thomas is going to miss the beginning of the season for the Saints. Carolina's still a couple years away, and Falcons are rebuilding. Plus, no Drew Brees for the Saints. I'm just looking at the Bucks schedule right now, and I only see them as an underdog in maybe one game early on. They got the Rams on the road, so they might be a dog in that. But other than that, they should be a touchdown favorite in every game. They brought back their entire roster, which is kind of unheard of in today's NFL era. And they might have the most talented roster in the NFL. There's no reason they shouldn't continue to win. They have the 5th easiest schedule based on current win totals. They play the NFC and AFC East, which is always helpful. I just think another year with the same players, another year in the same with the coaches, the playbook, the Bucks can easily win the division. The value isn't that high considering all things, because if they go on a run, especially early on, you'll never be able to get this low of a number. They'll be minus 200, minus 300. So I would take the Bucks to win the NFC South at minus 185. Joe?
Nice. No, I'm riding the over, man. 11.5 I think is low for me, in my opinion. They have everyone returning. And the odds I saw it at, I think it's time to jump on it at minus 125 because I think they start winning games. That's just gonna go away. So, yeah. Obviously, the play not to make is them to make the playoffs. That's minus 650. I don't think there's any value there. That's like a lock. Like you said, all the questions we have about every other team in the South there just makes you think that they're going to go ahead and make the playoffs, and that will go in line with what you said and what I'm agreeing with. I did find out minus 180, which was for them to win the NFC South, because I just don't think there's much competition on there. It seems like they very well could get in with the first slot, and that I think there's only one team that gets to bye this upcoming year, right? We only have one
only the
team
first seed.
on each
Yeah.
conference making a bye, and I think the Bucks will lock in the number 1 seed and get that first round bye, which could be needed after how they played.
Elvis, what's your last one?
I-
Oh, no, you have 2 more.
I have 2 more. So like I said, we siphoned around. I have the Bucks alternate wins.
Oh, my.
I honestly believe this is a 14-3 club.
Wow.
So the alternate wins will be at 13.5 at plus 250. I'm not saying
Woo.
sprinkle something on it. I'm saying put a unit or 2 on it. I'm that confident that this team could win 14 games.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't see
What
them
are the odds again on that? Plus what?
plus 250. So
Good odds.
it's great odds, and I'll be honest, they could do it. Like Dylan said, they're only not favored in one game all season. He could see the Bucks being favored by touchdown in every game. I don't see this team losing 4 games. I honestly don't.
They're not
And
going to
even
fall
if-
into the issues they did last year.
No.
And like Tom Brady said during the press conferences before the Super Bowl, this team will be better.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they got a deep running backs, they got the full tight end back. People forget OJ Howard is back.
Cameron Brate.
Cameron Brate.
Stayed.
Rob is gonna, play probably like 40% of snaps, 30% of snaps. But when he do play, he's a problem.
You got the best
And
wide
then-
receivers.
Best wide receivers in the league. Even got I think pretty sure they still got Humphreys. No, not Humphreys.
Scotty Miller.
Scotty Miller still there.
Miller.
Scotty Miller still there.
They-
And I'll be
they love
honest,
him.
and arguably a top 3 defense.
Oh, they have the best front 7, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then probably the best linebacker in the
Yes,
game.
the best linebacker core probably as well.
they have a top 5 coach, I would say. Maybe not.
I'll
Maybe
be
that's
honest,
a little pushing it. with
They
Bruce.
have combined,
a top 5
a
coaching
top
staff.
Staff. Bowles is now the highest paid defensive coordinator in the game.
and then Brian Leftwich is just dicing them up. And then
He's
him
gonna
and
get
Brady
paid.
together
Brilliant.
It's a great combination.
Yeah, I agree. So the next play for me is it might not be too popular, but I'm going to do a player prop. I'm going to do Tom Brady under 4,750 and a half passing yards. There's going to be a lot of people coming in on Tom to go over this number because of the success he had last year. He went over it, but he's going to need 279 passing yards per game to go over this number. He could do it, but in his losses, he's throwing about 5 more passes than when he wins. Obviously, though, when you're down, you got to run the ball more versus when you're winning, you got to run the ball late, control the clock. I think the Bucs are going to be better like everyone else does. I don't think they'll be trailing a lot. He won't need to throw as much. They got a deep running back field, like Elvis was saying with Rojo, playoff Lenny. They just signed Giovanni Bernard. Tom Brady's 44. At some point, you got to think he's going to decline just a little, I think. So there's always a chance he might miss a game with COVID, not hoping that, or maybe an injury. He was playing through an injury all last year. We never knew about. So he might have a stinker as well here and there, like he did on the road in Chicago that Thursday night with the 4th down.
It happens.
Yeah,
But he
so
doesn't have to. He doesn't have
At
to
one
carry.
point- At one point, this team was 7-5.
Yeah,
At one
and
point,
then they just went on this crazy run
Terrible.
after
They
the
didn't lose-
bye. They didn't lose the game.
they didn't lose a game.
So ultimately, I think the Bucs will be leading most of their games, and he might not even get the chance to go over this number. So I'll dive lightly under the number 4,750 passing yards at -110.
Not bad.
Joe, do you have another one for us?
No, I didn't have anything. I thought Elvis might have had one more.
Yeah. One
Yeah,
more.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going with the Bucks, man. I would sprinkle, maybe put one full unit on them to win the NFC at +300. I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
To win the NFC, it's gonna be. I'm not gonna say it's tough,
Plus 300.
+300, but San Francisco, good team. They're not going to the Super Bowl.
Oh my.
The Rams,
They can.
the potential was there,
Yeah.
but do you trust Matthew Stafford to bring you to the Super Bowl? No, I don't. Packers.
You trust them.
Packers, I'm
That's
be honest.
always a little threat.
threat. I think this is their biggest threat, but I'm be honest. Tampa just went in Green Bay and won that game decisively. So I think, like Joey said, I think they will be the first seed this year. They will have the best record, and I don't see Aaron Rodgers beating that team at home.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, your boys, hate to say this, Joe, Seahawks, they ain't doing it.
Oh my
Russell
God.
Wilson's top 5 quarterback, but I'll be honest, they're not there defensively.
They have their
just-
work cut out for him to just
Yeah.
win the division.
And on the offensive line, they need to protect Russ, which is why he was kind of unhappy in the offseason.
100%.
Yeah, and then I don't see another NFC team
Really.
really, coming out of nowhere and defeating the Bucks in Tampa.
Like the odds. Tampa Bay's number 1 at plus 300. Then you said Green Bay at plus 550. 650 with the 49ers. I think the Rams should be more favored
I
than
think
49ers.
the Rams, because I think Rams are number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah.
Some of the best coaching.
I think the issue with them right now, who's their running backs?
No more Cam Akers. He's hurt. So
He's
they're going to have to
hurt,
throw the
and-
ball a lot.
Maybe they could get CJ Anderson
Or
back.
bring back Gurley.
They got to do something. So I think that's a big question mark there with the Rams. They have no running game or none that we know of. So I'm be honest, I'm going to roll with Tampa to go to the Super Bowl at plus 300.
Wow. I like that, though. I think there's value because, like I said earlier, if they get on a little run and Green Bay might fall out, the odds of that's going to go way down.
To me, the only 2 teams that can honestly beat them are the Rams and Green Bay. And
I agree.
I don't see
They don't play Green
Yeah.
Bay.
defensively the Rams could lead just off the defensive side of the ball, they could beat him there. But I don't think Matthew Stafford could put up 30+ points to beat Tom Brady.
Well, now he has an offense in the weapon.
yeah, but
so let's
he,
see.
Yeah, but can he do it
We're gonna
without
see.
a running game? You just said, that's the best.
He never had a running game in Detroit.
Yeah, but you just said that's the best front seven in football.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Stafford's got to stay healthy too.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I'm gonna be honest. That defense is solid, man. So I think it's gonna be hard for anybody to knock them off in the NFC.
I agree. Well, we'll see about that. I'm high. I think everyone's pretty high on the Buccaneers. Yeah. Let's talk about the team that was running the division for some time till Brady came to the party. New Orleans.
They're still running. They're the defending champs now.
They beat them twice.
That's right.
Yeah, they do got the banner division,
true.
But they got it.
Joe, I'm going to start with you this time. What's your best bet for the Saints in this upcoming future market?
So I saw the line for them at 9 for the Saints, and man, I'm thinking that's like the ceiling right there. So I'm seeing this team as like you can't have a 500 ball club no more. So I'm seeing them possibly getting only 8 wins or possibly only getting the 9. 9 might be their ceiling there, and that's a push. But something's telling me, man, I didn't really get too close of a look at the schedule, but something's telling me that they're going to underperform in a lot of games, especially at the beginning of the season. The quarterback's going to have to get in there, create chemistry. Like you said, I think you mentioned to this, no Michael Thomas to start the season, and they still have a debate who's going to start. I think Coach Sean Payton wants Taysom Hill to start, but I think the team kind of wants Jameis Winston to take the mantle. And so that could cause a little rift within the clubhouse. So what I'm going to be rolling with is the under 9. It's at -125. It's hard for me to say because the Saints always find, they're nitty, they're gritty. They always find a way. Defensively, they've gotten improved. Not this year. I'm just saying over the general course of their years, they've always improved defensively. Yet, I don't know if we see some regression. So I like sticking with the under 9 because, hey, if we get to 9, we push. It's not like I'm calling a push like I did last time, but this one I'll stay under at -125. And I think that can go in line with this because if they don't go ahead and get above that 8-win mark, that 9-win mark, I don't know what could be the same could be said for the rest of the teams in the NFC, but they very well could miss the playoffs. And so I'll also be putting a play in for them to miss the playoffs at -136 because there might be actually I know you said Carolina's young, but I don't think the Falcons really going to have it this year. Unfortunately, we'll get to that, of course, next episode. But I think they're going to have some games with Carolina Panthers that's going to make you think twice about them. So that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning with them missing the playoffs right now at -136 because they're going to have their work cut out for them as well.
I like where we're lining. Me and you, we're on the same page with this one. I got both my plays are the same thing. I'll go first, Elvis. So I'm going to have them miss the playoffs, the Saints at -134. I got a little earlier, but first, like I said, Michael Thomas will miss the first couple of games, so we might not get him till November. And did you see what he posted on his social media today?
No, I didn't.
They tried to damage your reputation. You saved theirs by not telling your side of the story.
Sure.
It's because he got his ankle surgery late, and then Sean Payton comes out, makes some comments like he hurt the team. You're not thinking about us. There's definitely conflict between him and the organization. Not to mention, like Joe was saying, they have a pretty tough schedule to open up. The margin of error is super thin. Their wide receivers are Traquan Smith. He had 448 yards last year. Deontay Harris, he had 210 receiving yards in 2 years. Marquez Callaway had 213 years last year. He was a rookie. And they just signed Chris Hogan, who had 118 receiving yards with the Jets. And he was playing in the professional lacrosse league last year.
Wow. Super Bowl champ now.
They need Michael Thomas on the field. They lost their number 2 in Emmanuel Sanders. They let him walk. With all that, Drew Brees leaving, no veteranship on the team, on or off the field. Who's going to fill this role? Yes, they were 12-4 last year, but outside of their 2 wins against Tampa, their 10 other wins were against teams under 500. No legit wins outside of Tampa. I just think Tampa is likely going to roll, win the division. So you're looking at a wild card spot and a loaded NFC. I think 3 teams in the NFC West get in and possibly the Vikings in the NFC North. So I think they struggle. I think they missed the playoffs. I'll take it at -134.
I'm gonna be honest. We all on the same page here.
Oh, wow.
Let me just say something. This Saints team, Sean Payton, they went 5-0 2 seasons ago with Teddy Bridgewater when Drew Brees broke his thumb.
Covering machine.
Last season, I'm pretty sure they went 4-1 with Taysom Hill at the helm. And I'll be honest, it's just 9 games, like Joey said. you said, 9 games is, I think, it's their ceiling. I just don't see it. Like, yeah, they had success without Drew Brees, but I think this season, when the game plan is focused on a few things, they're not gonna be able to do it. And Joey was saying which quarterback is gonna be starting. I'm gonna be honest. I think Jameis has to start because Taysom Hill has to play a little bit of tight end, a little bit of slot receiver, a little bit of fullback. He needs to, do stuff to help this offense flow. Like Dylan said, I can't name you a wide receiver. To me personally, their best receiver going into week one might be a guy that was playing lacrosse that season at
Yeah.
Chris Hogan, who was a Super Bowl champ.
One of their tight ends or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So-
lost Jared Cook too.
They
That's,
lost
I
Jared
forgot
Cook,
to say
too.
that.
So on the receiver side of things, I don't know who they have. All they have is Alvin Kamara. He can't do it all. He's gonna get hurt if they just feed him the ball 400 times this
There's
season.
precedent.
And I think that's what they started to do when Michael Thomas got hurt with his ankle injury last year and Emmanuel Sanders wound up getting COVID. They just force fed Alvin Kamara, and
Yeah.
you're gonna get the guy hurt.
Like, so what Joey was saying earlier, I think I don't think this was the game plan, but they're kind of forced to start Jameis.
Yeah.
And then put Taysom Hill on tight end, or just force him somewhere in the rotation, have him as a gadget guy.
Keep him guessing.
So yeah, I'm not gonna touch the over under because I have faith in Sean Payton on the win. So I feel like they're gonna be a good team. But like Dylan was saying earlier, and I was said last episode, with the same thing as the Vikings, I think they're a good team. They will have a decent season, but the NFC West is just loaded, and then it might be some sneaker teams that's gonna keep them out the playoffs. So my official play is Saints to miss the playoffs at -134. I don't see them making the playoffs this season, and I won't touch the over under 9 because I just have much respect for Coach Sean Payton.
Yeah, nobody wants to go to New Orleans and play in that Superdome.
Yeah, nobody. So
I respect Sean Payton. I don't respect this team, especially without Michael Thomas.
Without
So
Drew
my
Brees.
second play is on the win total. I'm going under 9.5. It was at 9.5, but once Michael Thomas got hurt, they went down
dropped
to
that.
9.
Wow.
I got it at -105. I can't see them winning 8 or 9 games. I was looking at their schedule. I only have them favored in 7 out of their 17 games. NFC is tough. This is going to be a tight year. They're looking at a wild card spot, like we've been saying, because I see 3 NFC West teams getting in. And now since Aaron Rodgers is back in Green Bay, I see them winning the division and Vikings squeezing in. In their first 3 weeks of the season without Michael Thomas, they'll be big underdogs against Green Bay, a small favorite against Carolina. Right now, the line is +1 or -1 for them. So they're only a small favorite. And like Joey was saying, Carolina could sneak up on some teams this year.
they're going to be a good team.
So and they're an underdog against New England in week 3.
Come on now.
They could start 1-2 or 0-3. I think the departure of Drew Brees and not having that veteranship in the locker room is going to hurt this team. And not to mention, their defense took some hits due to the salary cap. They lost Malcolm Brown, Janoris Jenkins, Quan Alexander, Trey Hickerson, and Alex Alzone. Those 5 combined starters started 57 games last year in total. This year, the Saints will have to rely on rookies, backups to keep their defense afloat. So I trust Sean Payton, but I don't trust these players. So I have to dive under 9 wins at -105. Anything, boys, before we go?
Joe, you got anything?
No, I like what you guys
I'm
had
be-
to say, man. A lot of it is going to come to fruition, I feel like. I feel like we're on the same track.
I'll be honest. I was just looking at these odds here while you was going, Dill, and I'll
Mhm.
be honest. I said over 13.5 alternate wins for the Bucks. I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking at the exact season win totals. 13 wins is +500, and then +14 wins is +600. So I will be sprinkling money on 13 wins at +500 and 14 wins at +600. I'm be honest.
Just
I
in
think-
case.
Yeah, I think that's just great value. Like I said, I don't see this team losing 4 games, and I predict they're going to be 14-3.
No, I
So,
can see it. And you might as well jump on it early.
yeah, jump on it right now. And be honest, 13 wins at +500.
Yeah.
The over under is 13.5 at +250. So I don't know.
It's worth a sprinkle.
It's worth a sprinkle.
I'm telling you, this August betting, it's very hard because we're always looking for football season
Yeah.
to start. College is starting in 2 weeks. So thank you, boys, for that. On Friday, we'll be talking about the Panthers and the Falcons, finishing up the NFC South. But any last words before we get up out of here?
Yo, Dylan, your Mets is
No, I don't wanna
falling
talk
down
about
bad.
it.
I
don't
told
wanna
you
talk
they.
about it.
I told you if Philly wins, they ain't looking back. And look,
I know
they're
we
what,
can't.
2.5 now?
2.5 back.
Kiss
It's
it
sad.
goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're done.
Come
You're
on,
the-
man. You didn't have to rub it in like that. But no, I would
Yeah,
say
I
the
knew
only
I'd do
thing,
it
since
like
we
that.
have talked about the Cowboys and now we have just talked about the Buccaneers, that will be the first game of the NFL season on a Thursday night. And honestly, I think I would lean with one of the Buccaneers possibly scoring the first touchdown of the season. And possibly could be one of the runner backs. Like you said, they acquired Giovanni Bernard. They have playoff Lenny and Ronald Jones. I think, honestly, out of the group, I might want to take Rojo. I might want to have Rojo with
yeah.
the first score of the NFL season. That's got to be plus money.
For week 1, I'll do Bucks minus 6.5, and
Yeah.
first touchdown, just to throw it out there for fun. Either OJ Howard on his first game
Or
back
Gronkowski.
or Antonio Brown, because it's a whole lot of money.
We'll, of course, reiterate that when we get to that season opener.
Yes.
We-
Thank you, boys. We'll see you guys on Friday. Joey will be running the ship. I'll be down in Maryland, but call me. I got some
Go
picks.
answer,
I
go
always
pick
got
up.
picks. Exactly. Boys will have some hot takes. They'll have some picks for everyone. Everyone have a great week. Good luck on your wagers. Please follow us on social media and Twitter and Instagram at The Dream Wager. Subscribe, rate, review. Everything helps us out tremendously. Be a friend, tell a friend, and everyone, best of luck.